Welcome to Often Pacing on Tab Radio, Racing and Sport. Tim Walker will be joined by Matt Young and Oliver Cownie as they delve into the form for today's Pinjarra harness meeting, as well as an early look at tomorrow's meeting at Gloucester Park. We are Often Pacing.
So very good morning, everybody. Welcome along to another edition of Often Pacing. It is great to have your company. This is the last time for the year that we're going to be doing our Monday morning program, Often Pacing. It'll be back again in the new year, so we're starting a little bit earlier and we might just extend it out a little bit this morning. We've got a big show on the way. We're going to catch up with Matt and Ollie in a couple of moments' time. Tim Stone is going to join us as well from Albany, celebrating 50 years down there this year, so we'll be able to talk a little bit about what is coming up with a particular eye on the 28th of December. Looking forward to that. Deni Roberts will join us as well off the back of Minstrel finishing second on Saturday night, a brave second at that in the Interdominion, and also we'll be able to touch on what the next couple of days look like with her as well. Hopefully a chance to find a winner there today at Pinjarra. And we'll also have a chat to Cam Brown, the head of harness racing and special projects at Racing WA. He will join us in studio to tidy up the program for 2023. So I've put a little bit of extra homework towards our experts today, Oli Cownie and Matt Young. We're going to do all of the regular segments that you have come to know and hopefully enjoy over the course of the year, with horses to follow, also with tips for Pinjarra today in Gloucester Park, as it normally is tomorrow. Of course, tomorrow night it is down there at Narrogin, so we'll talk about that, and we'll also put it to the guys to bring up their three best moments in harness racing for this year. So we'll see what they have come up with. Let's get them into the program and not keep them waiting any longer. Oli Cownie, good morning to you.
Good morning, Tim. Great week of racing just gone by. Look forward to getting stuck into it.
Absolutely. Matt Young's along as well. Hello, Matthew.
Very good morning again, Tim, Ollie, everyone tuned in.
Great to have you both on the line. Well, let's talk about what was a great weekend of harness racing. And just very quickly before we get into the nitty-gritty, a quick look back at the Golden Nugget. So, Ollie, first and foremost, your thoughts there from Friday night, where Mr. Smarty was, on paper, the dominant 4-year-old, and he showed that on Friday nights.
Oh, he was just fantastic again, wasn't he? And he showed that he's really the complete package now. He's just a really, really good racehorse. He was able to settle outside the leader. A lot of horses in that position, when they're going as slowly as they were in the early stages, might have started over racing, but he just settled beautifully outside. Never Ending, who we know at his best is a very high quality horse. He controlled the race from there. There were some pretty fast horses just right in behind them, just getting really good runs, like Soradere and Lusaka and Rolling Fire, and he was able to hold them off pretty easily in the end, and he showed that he's probably a horse that next year will be a really big force in some of those Grand Circuit races.
Matt, I know, obviously, watching the race with you on Friday night, it was one whereby there wasn't any extreme moves, but the best horse was certainly able to come out on top there, Mr. Smarty. It was a dominant win.
Yeah, it was a dominant win. He went well. I mean, there's not really a huge amount to talk about the race. Mr. Smarty, we know how good he is. He was gutsy in winning. It was anticlimactic. The race was not a great visual, enjoyable race to watch as a spectator, because it was quite plain, really. So, look, Never Ending went well below his best, which really took the shine off the race of what we could have seen. And Mr. Smarty went as good as we thought he was going to go. And he's an outstanding horse. But yeah, as a spectacle, it was definitely one that doesn't make it into the top three for the year, I can tell you that, Tim.
No, we'll talk about that in just a moment. But the Interdominion final on Saturday night, it was a spectacle, Matt.
Unbelievable race, the Interdominion, and I think everyone in WA should be really proud of the performance that Minstrel's put in, representing the state, and not only Minstrel, but I thought Deni Roberts' drive on the Interdominion Grand Final was one of her best drives that I think I've ever seen. She just made all the moves at the right time. She just drove a cracking race. So it can be a bit of a tricky track to navigate Menangle, especially coming from an 800-metre metropolitan circuit like Gloucester Park to Menangle, but I thought Deni's drive on the big stage, which she's been doing and really proving over the last 18 months, she's just gone from strength to strength. And, it was just great to see. We know how good Minstrel is, and I thought he would be a horse that would really thrive off those 3 runs in a weekend into the final. And he just fell short, but I don't think anyone's walking away disappointed with his run.
Yeah, to go over there, Ollie, after winning a Pacing Cup here, and we know that he missed the last lead up into the Pacing Cup, so that was an incredible performance on that occasion. Then go over there, the 3 runs in 14 days before the final. There's a lot to be said for what Minstrel was able to do over on the East Coast.
Oh, there certainly is, and I think can speak for a lot of harness racing fans in saying that the Interdominion final is the pinnacle of this sport, and it's a real test of trainer, driver and horses there with those 3 runs leading into that final. They had to travel, quite a long way throughout that series, which certainly would have taken it out of some of those horses. But in the end, those 3 horses, Minstrel, Don Hugo and Max the Light, that filled the placings, they were probably the three of the standout horses, but 3 of the standout drives, as Matt mentioned as well. The drive on Don Hugo was just unreal. He was so patient there, Luke McCarthy, to sit in the 1-1 when the leaders were just going too hard in the early stages. And the drive on Minstrel was fantastic. As soon as Deni saw Luke sort of heading towards the front, she got around them too, and it was just a terrific battle there. Don Hugo, just too good in the end. He sort of had made a name for himself, I guess, in the Eureka not that long ago. It was a slowly run race, and he got away with a fair bit there, but ever since, he's just been incredibly impressive, and he's really starting to put his name up there with some of the better horses in the country. I'd say Minstrel there on Saturday night, he was just absolutely incredible. To sit outside the leader in what was a world record time for the 2300 is just truly incredible. And Max the Light in third was outstanding. And even Terry in fourth, who was $126 in the end, he loomed up and nearly looked the winner at one stage. He was terrific. And other horses in behind them, like Dangerous, he was really good. He's another one that sort of took huge steps forward in this series. And it looks like we've got a really nice bunch of Grand Circuit horses heading forward, even with the series sort of having lost those 2 main names in Swayze and Leap to Fame. We ended up having a fantastic series, and I don't think it lost as much as people think it was going to.
Spot on. All right, now for the final time, gents, let's get some horses to follow out of Friday night, and maybe a few of these might be able to make us $1 over the festive period. We'll let you get started first here, Matt.
Yeah, look, I thought Hemwood Bay's return run was really good 2 starts ago, and that was at Gloucester Park on the Saturday night that I was there, and then he followed it up with a really good performance on Friday night. So he was 5 back the pegs, and then Cole Harper had the confidence to get onto the back of the 3-wide train, and I just thought his effort was full of merit, and his 2 runs back suggests he's not far out of winning a race again. I thought my Ultimate Chevron on the standing start was decent. He's been racing really consistently, and I think he's due to win one very soon, so he's one to well and truly follow. And Paul Edward is a horse that really caught my eye on Friday night. The race wasn't really run to suit. He had to come right out wide to make his run into the event. Just put in a couple of little rough ones when getting to the outside, but his last 150 metres was really solid, and the ground he made up really caught my eye, and I thought Paul Edwards, he's ready to win a race, and he won't be far away. So he does need a few things to go his way, but on Friday night I thought that was one of his better runs I've seen in a fair while. So Hemwood Bay, Paul Edward and my Ultimate Chevron.
Ollie, what about you?
I've got one for us firstly out of the Golden Nugget. I thought Rolling Fire was fantastic there. Very well driven by Trent Wheeler. Sat 1 out, 2 back in what was an incredibly slowly run race, and he loomed up and really hit the line quite powerfully. We've sort of always known him to be maybe potentially more of a staying type, but he showed he's got plenty of speed there on Friday, finishing in a very close up 4th in what was a dash home. So I thought he was terrific, and he's a horse that seems to be getting better and better. So really keen to follow him going forward. Another horse I thought was terrific on Friday night and was incredibly well driven there to get into second was Deni Roberts in the next race. He was able to get the spot 3 back to pegs, and he's a really fast horse, so he's suited by getting a soft run like that, and he weaved through and got into second behind Goodfellas, and I thought that was a great effort, and he's a horse with a lot of speed, so there's certainly a race that he can win very soon, and I think he could go around decent odds given his pattern is to sit up and sprint home, so he's definitely one to follow. Deni Roberts, and in the stands, I thought Mr. Mont Blanc, he was terrific. He's always been a horse that's better when sat up, so he wasn't really suited the start prior when he was forced to face the breeze, and he really hit back strongly there on Friday. He powered into it behind Caliente, which is a horse that's been absolutely flying recently, and they ran a really sharp last 1200. So I think Mr. Mont Blanc shows that he is racing near his best despite that previous run, which was maybe not his absolute best. So keen to follow Mr. Mont Blanc.
Alongside Deni Roberts and also Rolling Fire. Now, Pinjarra today, the first of yours. Matt, you're going to race number 2, so we'll let you open the batting.
Yeah, we'll go to race 2. We'll go. He's a horse, a hard horse to follow. I'm not going to lie about that. I'm Gavroche. I thought he could step really well in this race, and he could go up a silly price for a place, and I just thought he was probably a play for the placings in this event. He's got, that good speed. I thought his last run, he just got tired late, which is to be expected over the 2600. It's never really been his go. He galloped first up, which was very rare, and finished in 5th. But then last start he just weakened. But I just thought he could run a really good race at the 2100 metres and represented good value for the place. So I was happy to be with him in race 2, place only. I'm Gavroche. Race 5, I'm happy to play the Exacta or Quinella, depending on how brave you wish to be. But I thought Freya and Zara Tindall would run 1-2, just which way is all dependent on the pressure that could be put up in the race. Doesn't appear to be a huge amount of pressure. Zara Tindall was a very fast horse, so can definitely overcome racing behind Freya and outdash her late. But I think it's going to be a good battle between those two in the last 400 metres, and I think they'll run 1-2. And then in race number 6, I was with Blazing Reactor, who looks to be a really strong chance. I didn't think he needed the lead to win this race. He's got the draw advantage for, and with his run last start, he was outstanding. So, look, I think Blazing Reactor is going to be very hard to beat. So we'll go race 2, I'm Gavroche Place. Race 5, Quinella Exacta, however you wish to play it, but the 1 and the 8. And race 6, number 9, to win Blazing Reactor.
All right, so that is for Matt at Pinjarra today. Ollie, you're going to race 3 for your first.
Yeah, kick things off in race 3. It's sort of a little bit of a tricky race, this one. So I was going one at a bit more value. The favourite in this race is likely to be Scooter B, but that horse is drawn widest in this race, which could potentially make things a little bit tricky. American Major is a horse that it sounds like Ryan Bell's always had a really big rap for, and he returned really strongly there last start at Gloucester Park. It certainly wasn't a strong contest, and he only won that by 9 metres, but he did do it very easily. He went to the line pretty much untouched. He showed decent gate speed to suggest that he could probably work to the front here and give them something to catch. So at the better value, I'm happy to be with American Major over Captain's Creek and Scooter B, who he has the draw advantage on. The next one I was keen to play into was race 5. Freya, as Matt mentioned, Freya's the likely leader and just has to hold off Zara Tindall on its back. And I thought it was a terrific return last start. Really a long time off from the races, 3 years, and returned there. It wasn't really suited, got back in the run and was forced to make a wide run early in the race and really stayed on quite strongly there. In a strong enough race, Curious Boy won, and Curious Boy's been going quite well, and Wheelies Waterwick is in really good form as well, and that horse was into 3rd there, so I think that's probably a pretty strong form race, and Freya with the draw advantage from gate 1, I think is one for us to put into multis and things. I think she'll be winning that race. And then onto race 8, this one a little bit of value. I thought in race 8, Galveston John could work to the top. It's a horse with fantastic gate speed. Was really impressive first up there into 3rd in a reasonably strong race. So that looks pretty good form there for a race like this, a lightning lap behind Charco Eagle and Sonic Chips, who's been fantastic recently. The dangers look to be out wider. I've always thought it's just a shot away the horse that's better when able to find the rails, and Lady De La Hoya is first up from a spell. So certainly queries on those horses, and if Galveston John can get away with a bit on the front end, I certainly think he'll prove hard to catch. So he looks a really good each-way bet in that race.
All right, so that is in races 3, 5 and 8 for Ollie today. Okay, we turn our attention to Narrogin tomorrow night. Of course, normally Gloucester Park, but with Gloucester Park on Saturday, we go to Narrogin. And Matt, we'll let you start off here for tomorrow night's card.
Okay, so, it's got an earlier start too tomorrow from Narrogin, just after 4 o'clock. So that's important to take note. There's some really good fields tomorrow. I'm looking forward to watching the meeting unfold, but we'll wait until race 5 to really get excited. I thought American Monarch's been racing really well. Had a little bit of a setback. Obviously, was down to race twice last week. Had a float mishap on the way to Gloucester Park and was scratched from those 2 races. The 1,800 metres, last 5 less than $8,000 race, 2 off the back row. Just thought this really measured up nicely for American Monarch. So considering everything that may have happened in the last week for this mare, I thought on her racing form, she's incredibly hard to beat here, American Monarch, with that turn of foot. So happy to be with her in race number 5. And in the last, I thought Batavia Storm was a massive chance in this final event. He's got the speed to lead. There's a bit of speed to his outside, but I thought he could lead this race, and from there he's going to be really hard to beat. So I just thought it was a suitable race for him in the final event. So race 8, number 1, Batavia Storm. Race 6, number 8, American Monarch for mine too.
Race 5, number 8, that one is there, Matt. American Monarch
race 5,
there.
Sorry.
Yep.
I'm looking at race 6 because I've got a genuine interest in that race too.
Race 6, number 8, I thought was some sort of each-way chance as well, Matthew.
Yeah, I hope so.
Now, let's get to you, Ollie. What's your take on Narrogin tomorrow?
So I was keen to kick things off in race 1 there. I think My Hammer Down is a really nice horse, and outside front row certainly isn't the easiest spot to be there at Narrogin, but has the key draw advantage on Prince of Tribeca and Charivari, and I think My Hammer Down she'll be able to work to the top and over the 1,800 circuit. Looks really hard to beat. We'll go around a pretty short quote, so I'd say that's definitely one for multis there. And then into race 2, something we could probably multi My Hammer Down with is Bella Regata. Not a horse with brilliant gate speed, but I think maybe a little bit of a stagger in that race could allow it to drive through, lead them up, and certainly leading them up would be incredibly hard to beat in a race like that. She's a horse that is strong and tough, so I think from the front end she should be able to hold off her rivals. It looks like the main danger is on her back in Sea Fury, and Sea Fury's a really fast horse, so Carl will certainly be doing his best to hold that horse in, but I think Bella Regata can get away with enough on the front end to lead and win.
All right, so we start the night off hopefully in fine form there with My Hammer Down and Bella Regata. Okay, gents, I've put the work to you over the weekend. The best 3 moments in harness racing this year. Matt, we'll let you start off. What have you got for us?
I think the number 1 moment for the year is definitely when Ripperview won first up for Karen Young. So, no, the top 3 for me. Look, in 3, I'm going to say Catch a Wave, the Nullarbor. I thought just the whole lead up to the Nullarbor had a real good feel. It was a good build-up, and Catch a Wave created a lot of interest in the race. He had that nice lead-in event where he performed so well at Gloucester Park, and it was just an exciting race. And there was so much speculation over Better Zip It and Spirit of St. Louis and what was going to happen in the event. It was just a race for the ages, it felt, and good crowd on course. It was a great night of harness racing. I just loved it. I loved everything about it. And the battle between Kate Gath and Deni Roberts with Minstrel in second place. It was just wonderful to see. And I thought that was definitely one of the moments of the year. I'm putting number 2 in Minstrel, winning the Pacing Cup. I thought the training effort to be able to get that horse second up, 3 weeks between runs to win a Pacing Cup, doing all the work, sitting outside them, race record. It's just Deni Roberts, the first female driver to win the WA Pacing Cup. It was just, there was so much attached to it, and Minstrel, as we know, has gone on and done so much and running second in the Interdominion Grand Final. But I thought it was just a great race and had to fend off the late challenge of the new kid on the block, Mr. Smarty. So, yeah, I really enjoyed watching Minstrel win the Pacing Cup. And then the number 1 spot is, I'm a big fan of seeing the country trainers get their moment in the sun, and I thought the Westbred 2-year-old fillies final was the moment of the year for me, with Raynette for Frank, Adam, Ricky Nafranic, the Nafranic family. They won the Champagne Stakes with this horse. Trent Wheeler drove a great race in the Westbred final to be able to get this horse across the line over the top of Copperhead Lady. It was a great battle to the line. I just love seeing that. People that have been in the industry for so long have been toiling away trying to get themselves a horse to be able to win a Group 1, and to see them to be able to be there and enjoy that moment and watch them enjoy that moment was definitely the highlight of the year for me. I think that's why we're all in the sport, is to try and get that moment, and it's great to see when people have been fighting hard for so long to be able to experience that. It's just one of the great parts of our game.
Yeah, couldn't agree more, Matt. Good 3 moments there with the Nullarbor, the Pacing Cup and Raynette. Now, Ollie, what about you?
My third biggest moment, best performance for the year, was the performance of both Swayze in the New Zealand Cup, but also Swayze's trainer, Jason Grimson. I thought it was just one of the greatest training performances you'll ever see. Swayze obviously went around at Young on the Friday night before heading off to New Zealand to tackle the New Zealand Cup, which is obviously not only the pinnacle in New Zealand, but it could be the pinnacle in both New Zealand and Australian racing. It's just such a massive race over there. 3,000 metres stand start. It's a huge occasion. They get a massive crowd out there, and it was the Aussie taking on the Kiwis. We thought we'd have Leap to Fame there, and sort of the Australian chances were dampened when Leap to Fame pulled out, but Swayze really just He went out there, he made a mid-race move, he moved up really strongly mid-race, he took up the front from Don't Stop Dreaming, and he was headed turning into the straight, and it was just an awesome battle up the straight. He kicked back Swayze, and he was just too good and beat Don't Stop Dreaming and Merlin, and they're 2 of the best horses in New Zealand, and he went over and he beat them on their turf, and he did it 2 days after winning a race at Young, so it was just a truly incredible win from Swayze and a truly incredible training effort. It was a fantastic drive by Cam Hart as well, and they're a combination which have won plenty of feature races over the last few years, so it really just was an amazing win. The second one I had was just a horse that's emerged over this year and really looks to be one of the most exciting horses in world harness racing, in Kiang Zahara. She went over to New Zealand. She'd obviously already made a name for herself in Australia, showing she is one of the greatest 3-year-old trotters to have ever graced a race course. And she went over to New Zealand on one of their biggest days in the Ascent. She was forced to park out there. She'd done a lot of work. She went around a short price favourite, so she was certainly expected to win, but just the way she went about it, she hit the front, she raced away and just did it easily. She won by about 20 metres. It was just a truly incredible win, and it was just a statement made to say she is one of the best trotters going around, and she's going to be a really, really exciting horse to follow over the next few years. And yeah, it was an incredibly taking win. And my number 1 performance was Minstrel there in the Interdominion final on Saturday. He did run second, but I thought it was just a truly incredible performance to go down 1.7 metres. It was awesome. His personal splits for the last 1,200 were 27, 26, 27.5. Horses just don't run faster than that, and I truly believe that if he'd found the front in that race and Leap to Fame was sitting outside him, Leap to Fame wouldn't have beaten Minstrel there. He's a horse that's just completely gone to a new level this time in, and I think he was fantastic there in the final on Saturday, and he did WA proud. And I think going forward, he's going to be a horse that's going to take heaps of beating in these Grand Circuit races in the future. And it's great to see Team Bond have a horse they can take around the country and be really competitive. So I thought Minstrel was fantastic.
Nice set of moments, gents. Well done. Ollie, to you firstly, thanks for coming on board this year. It's been great to get to know you over the phone at the very least, and looking forward to catching up down the track with you when you're over here in the West again. And you've brought great insight to our program, Often Pacing, and also Talking Trots here, which you can hear every Thursday night. We do appreciate your time again this morning.
Thanks very much, Tim. I've really enjoyed coming on. Looking forward to getting kicked off in the new year.
We certainly will, and to you and your family a very, very safe and happy festive period. And Matt, thank you for your insights as well on Often Pacing right throughout the course of the year. Now, we're going to hear from you again over the Christmas and New Year period, obviously with your previews, but you're very, very good with your time on a Monday morning, as always.
Thank you very much, Tim, Ollie. It's been a good year, so let's hope for some great racing going into 2025.
Absolutely. Matt Young with us on the program. And don't forget the Racing WA Harness X page, the place to be for full coverage of Pinjarra today. We'll take a short break. Up next, we'll catch up with Tim Stone, because Albany, it is going into its 50th year, and the 50th year celebrations are coming up in less than 2 weeks. That's next on Often Pacing.
You are listening to Often Pacing on Tab Radio, Racing and Sport.
Great to have your company on this Monday morning, post the Interdominion final, also the Golden Nugget here at Gloucester Park. And it is great to have our next guest with us on the program, Deni Roberts. She's had a wonderful season, and it was a terrific display from Minstrel and also Deni on Saturday night to finish second in the Interdominion final behind Don Hugo. Deni, a very good morning to you.
Good morning, Tim. How are you?
Going along very nicely. Thanks for joining us on the program this morning. Talk us through the range of emotions on Saturday night.
Yeah, there was a lot of them. Getting beat was hard, but it was hard to not be ecstatic with Minstrel's performance and the overall series as well. It was definitely mixed emotions. It would have been great to win, but yeah, he was absolutely out of this world. I couldn't expect him to do any more than what he did. And, I think he definitely did WA proud.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There is no doubt about it. Did you think that you had Don Hugo's measure at all?
Probably around the corner. When I come out 3 wide, we put the pedal down and we ran a pretty slick quarter, and the fact that he never really dropped off him and stayed with him around the corner, that was when I thought, when we straighten, he's going to kick again here. And that was probably the one time I thought we might be a chance. And unfortunately for us, Don kicked just as good with us. So, probably halfway down the straight, I knew we were running for second. But, it was a great finish. It would have been an awesome race to watch. Definitely.
Yeah, it certainly was. And I know watching on, it was quite exciting there for a while as he looked like he was going to get past Don Hugo, but he lost no admirers, Minstrel. You mentioned about how he was out of this world. Is that as well as he's gone, or is that perhaps being a bit disrespectful to his Pacing Cup win?
I think it's hard to compare the times. Obviously, they're going to run pretty slick on Menangles. But the way he feels, I think, it's probably fair to say he's going the best he ever has. Whether I think both runs were great. I don't really know which one was better. Probably they were both the same, to be honest. Yep. But he's taken a long way to get to his peak, but he's absolutely flying at the moment. He's never been so sound, and he's just such a happy horse. And I think he settled in over there so well and handled the racing so close together a lot better than I thought he would, to be honest. Probably didn't give him enough credit there, and probably just because he's not used to it. We always race him a fortnight apart here, space his runs like that, and that seems to work for him. So we were sort of diving into the unknown, but he's such a strong horse and such a tough horse, and I think that's what you need to be. And the two toughest horses battled it out, as you've seen in the final.
Yeah, absolutely. And We spoke to Senior on the Sports Daily earlier on this morning following Friday night, and he mentioned about how good your drive was. Matt and Ollie both mentioned it as well. Did you walk off track going, you know what, I couldn't have done any more?
Yeah, and I think that's why, you don't like getting beat, but I don't think I could have done any more, and I don't think he could have done any more. There's not many times you'll go around saying you broke the track record and ran your last mile in 1:49.8 and got beat. So, I was absolutely ecstatic with him, and just in myself too, that I was able to go with, some of the best drivers in Australia and sort of prove to myself that I, can compete at that level. And it was a big learning experience for me, and driving on different tracks and still, trying to get used to their racing in such a short period of time and at the absolute top level. So I think I'll definitely be, better for it. But yeah, I was pretty happy with both our performances. Does
it put a bow on the season as a whole for you?
Yeah, I've had, to win that would have been, I don't think I would have beat this season. It's been such a good season for me and for Greg and Sky. We've, knocked off quite a few features along the way and had some, really nice horses and all showcase their best. So, it's been an absolutely, great season. And I've always really wanted to travel and compete in a series like this. And, so I've definitely was the cherry on the top for me.
Fantastic. Deni Roberts is with us on the program. Deni, you touched on in the build-up to with a number of media outlets over on the East Coast and over here as well that the Inters is what you drive for. It's the cream of the crop that meet across the space of a couple of weeks, and the best and often the toughest horse trainer and driver also wins this series. So you've been over there, experienced it over there. It's a different looking Interdominion series to what we've seen in the past, and it'll be different again next year. What was your thoughts on the series as a whole coming away from it?
Look, I thought it was great. It's, it's the pinnacle of our harness racing. It always has been. I don't think it'll ever lose that edge. I think with the prize money and that, it sort of dulled it down a little bit. But I think going into next year, hopefully with Leap to Fame and Swayze on the scene and the prize money going back up to $1 million, I think it'll get a bit of its prejudice back. Not that I think it's lost any, but
yep.
I think it definitely showcases, the strongest and best horses we've got in Australia. And I think Brisbane will do a fantastic job with it. And hopefully we've got something going good enough that might be able to go over and contend.
Yeah. Do you want to give Minstrel another go?
We'll just have to see. He's obviously got a bit. He'll have a bit on around that time before just. Race by race we go with him. They'll just get them home safe first, and I'm not really too sure on their immediate plans. But we've also got he's a sport. I think that is will probably go to the next level next time. So there'll be a few there. But I think Minstrel's ride is definitely not over yet.
Oh, fantastic. Great to hear. Hey, just a couple more. I know it's a busy day on the way and you've got to get to Pinjarra. You've only just got back to Perth, but Lusaka, he's been so very good through the 4-year-old series, and to run third behind Mr. Smarty and obviously Sorodero, another consistent performer through the 4-year-old series, you must be wrapped with what he produced.
Yeah, he was outstanding on Friday. I couldn't expect much more from him either, the way the race was run. It was a bit of a brave move. I thought Aiden would have got rid of me. We just come hard and fast and hope we could get on top of them and try and get into it that way. I didn't really think we were going to be able to out-sprint any if we waited. So he can, like I said all along, he can run a really good half Osaka, especially set up. And I think he got clocked in 27.1, 27.8. So it was absolutely wrapped with his run, and I think he'll be definitely one of our top liners going forward. Yeah,
looking forward to seeing him. Have you got a winner today at Pinjarra?
Got a few chances. Hold That Gold looks a good race for him.
Yep.
He's drawn a bit awkward, but he's got pretty good gate speed. So, if he could find his way to the front, he could be a chance. Captain's Creek. He, comes up against American Major and Scooter B, but he's got pretty good ability on his side as well. So, if we can get him into a nice spot, I think he'll run a race. And I think I've got Blazing Reactors actually got a run. I think a big drop in grade for him, and actually not sure about the one lap, but as we've seen last start, he's very fast. So hopefully I can just use it at the end this time.
Terrific. Thank you so much for coming on the program. We know you've just touched down in Perth, so we do appreciate it. Congratulations on Saturday night. Well and truly flew the WA flag proudly, and look forward to catching up with you again going forward. Deni, all the best.
No worries, Tim. Thank you.
Deni Roberts with us on the program off the back of Minstrel's brave second on Saturday night. And we keep rolling. One man who was over there watching all of the Interdominion action and is with us in the studio this morning is the head of harness racing and special projects at Racing WA, Cam Brown. Cam, good morning to you.
Hey, Tim. How are you?
Very well. How was Saturday?
It was really good. Interdominion for paces itself was a terrific race.
Yeah.
And didn't Minstrel go awesome? I think it was probably the barrier draw advantage, and the fact that the winner got, I suppose, in front of it was probably the difference in winning the race.
We've spoken a lot about Deni and Minstrel and Greg and Sky this morning. It's a great ride that they're on at the moment. And just for Deni in particular herself, we were speaking to her there. Did you get a real sense of how big a moment it was for her being over there?
Yeah, absolutely. And the heart was going at the top of the straight. I think the dream was there and the race was to be won. Obviously, Don Hugo kept kicking down the lane, but at the 100, we thought WA was a real chance here. And I suppose for Minstrel, the next year is it's green light. It's so many great races, whether it's the Interdominion, the Nullarbor, the Fremantle Cup. It's got every chance to earn a lot of money and fly the flag for WA going forward.
So for the winner, Don Hugo, and hopefully we'll be able to chat to Luke on the Sports Daily at some stage this week. It's a crowning moment for Luke, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. His first Interdominion, and what a beautiful driver he is.
Yeah.
Maybe it was the drive that won the race. I know we had the barrier draw advantage, but there's been a couple of times at Menangle where Luke's really shown he's the king of Menangle. He stole it in the Eureka, and the 10 out of 10 drive on Saturday night, I think, won him the race as well. How
hard do we have to work on Luke to get him over here, get Don Hugo over here, because he'd be a good addition to the Nullarbor and the Freo Cup?
It'd be sensational. Look, we're littered with stars in harness racing, whether it's Swayze, Leave to Fame, and now Don Hugo, I suppose the next one. It'd be good to get all three, and it'd be great to get Luke here back in WA. I know he's been here a couple of times, and he's the one we'd love.
Yeah, absolutely. Just on the Inters, I'll put the question to Deni there as well on the series as a whole and what she made of it. And it's going to be a different looking series again next year, albeit a richer one. Queensland are really going to put a bit of love and care into the Inters, which I think a lot of harness racing fans would love. What's been your take on not just this year, but the last couple of years of the Inters?
Yeah, I'm really pleased it's going to Queensland. I think the timing for June, July next year really works.
Yep.
That space, I think, gives the Interdominion every chance. It's clearly disappointing we didn't get Swayze, Catch a Wave, Leap to Fame. We need the best horses in the Interdominion, and hopefully $1 million. And dropping one heat, I think, will attract more horses. And I'm certainly, personal view, is a fan of the two heats rather than three. I think the horses are a little bit different now. We're more refined, we're quicker. And I think the two heats may attract a few more horses to go there.
Yeah, okay, so that was going to be the next question. And that was a question with Tenzing Bromack. I know, speaking to Greg and Sky in the build-up, how he would handle the four runs across the fortnight. And now it gives, perhaps going back just to two heats and a final, you think gives that opportunity for more horses to get there, and it's a bit more attractive in that sense?
I think so, absolutely. Yep. Catch a Way is probably one to think about, obviously. Yep. He's almost a Perth horse.
Yeah,
He's one that I'm sure will relish the two heats in the final rather than three. And at the end of the day, we just want our best horses racing in an Interdominion. It's still Australia's most famous race.
Yeah.
And Australia's most premier race. And, to repeat, I think we just want our best horses there in the final, all going head-to-head. And hopefully that happens in Brisbane.
The head of harness racing and special projects, Cameron Brown, is with us in the studio this morning as we round out Off and Pacing for 2024. So what the Interdominion going to that June-July time slot means is that the Blacks of Fate goes back in the year to November-December time, roughly. Is it mid-November, I think, was the expectation? I know there was a bit to play out over the weekend. We spoke to Michael Radley, CEO at Gloucester Park, and if it was to be his way, that this time in 12 months, we'd be off the back of a WA Pacing Cup instead of a Golden Nugget. Is this something that you expect will happen? The 4-year-olds will swap with the free-for-allers?
Yeah, I think so. And I think for a couple of years, with the Interdominion in the spot it was, we had to move around a little bit.
Yep.
And the change of the season too. I do think we need to have the Pacing Cup as the grand final, as the last of our features over that 6-week period, and have the 4-year-old races, the Nugget, and the 4-year-old Classic as well lead up into the Pacing Cup, and that unearths another star, I think, and that's another little narrative working towards our best race, the Pacing Cup, in that period.
Cameron Brown with us. Now, Cam, let's just talk about as well another West Aussie that was over there in New South Wales on Saturday night and was there throughout the course of last week, Kyle Symington. Did you get to catch up with him over there?
Yeah, saw him for a moment. He was running around and look, didn't he represent WA also well? I think he was a bit of a victim of the random ballot of the horses. He didn't get too many quick ones. But look, he's a great driver, and I think it was a great opportunity for him to get around to the 3 tracks and I suppose maybe more importantly meet so many new connections from Australia and New Zealand. Look, hopefully if he gets another chance, he can get on some quicker horses, Tim.
Absolutely. And speaking of our junior drivers, they're going to get an opportunity over the coming weeks and months. Every fortnight there's going to be a race for our young drivers to show them off and show what we've got coming through. Yeah,
it's something we really want to do as a team. We want to give as many opportunities for our junior drivers to earn, to get exposure, and to thrive in our industry. We've got 15 concession drivers in the program at the moment. From January 13, the first race at Pinjarra, they'll get a fortnightly race throughout the whole year around the country as a start. These races will be penalty-free to attract as many horses and trainers to nominate their horse for the race. There'll be a maximum of 10, and the drivers will go on a ballot as to what horse they drive as well.
I know it's not the be-all and end-all what social media says, but it seems like the overwhelming feedback on social media, which isn't always the case, has been pretty positive to that.
Yeah, it's something I don't read, Tim, but look, I just want to give these junior drivers every hope.
Yep. All right. We know it's been a busy year in the harness racing space here in the West. We spoke to you through the August-September period. You were calling for feedback on how things are looking here in the West. How has that all settled?
It's a really important project, Tim. We actually went back to consult with trainers directly, and I'm sure there's 20 or 30 trainers around that got a call and did some direct and extensive consultation as well. So we're really taking this. Look, it's going to be a really important decision for the sustainability of our sport and the future of our sport. So we'll work to finalise that consultation in the next week before Christmas, and then making a decision in the new year.
Terrific. Anything else before we do let you go this morning, Cam?
Speaking back to Drivers' Championships, we've got the Australian Drivers' Championship, which is in Adelaide on Sunday the 29th of December. Gary Jr. and Deni Roberts will be representing WA, and I think Gary won a couple of years ago.
Yes.
Be good to see a WA winner again.
Let's hope that, I'm sure we're going to be in good hands with those two, and let's hope that one of them can get the job done over there. You're our last guest on the program for 2024, Cam. You've been very good with your time, always good coming in the studio, and whenever I'll send the message to see if you can come on the program, you're always very good with your time, so appreciate it. Good luck for the festive period. It gets busier and busier. Obviously, Albany underway, celebrating the 50 years there. We spoke to Tim Stone earlier on, and Bustleton, that's everyone's favourite, not too far from getting underway as well.
Yeah, it's a great period of holiday racing. So thanks, Tim, and thanks to the listeners.
Terrific. Cameron Brown with us, the head of harness racing and special projects at Racing WA. That's us done on Off and Pacing for the year. We do appreciate your time. Every Monday morning it is a lot of fun coming in here and talking harness racing with a range of special guests and also Ollie and Matt, our form experts. Hopefully you've been able to find a winner, and we've been able to guide you through and educate you in harness racing over the the course of the year, and we look forward to doing it all again in 2025. It'll be back early in the mid-year, so make sure you keep an ear out, and hopefully there is a very safe and happy festive period that is on the way for you and your loved ones. Looking forward to your company again next year on Often Pacing.
Chances are you're about to lose. For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelpline.org.au.